Welcome to the next episode of Scared Shitless, where we talk to regular people who have the courage to go after something big, something that they really feel that they want to achieve. My name is Sarah Sémajuste, and I am your host. Today we have a very special guest, Dennis Tanguay. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to
Uh,
hear.
Dennis is a friend of mine that we met through real estate investing. I feel like probably a couple of years now that we've known each
A few
other.
years, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like every time we do meetups, I get to know a little bit more about you. So first of all, I do want to thank you for accepting to be on our podcast.
Yeah.
I know that you were hesitant a little bit at first, but I truly appreciate your time and just getting your story out there.
Appreciate the opportunity. It's definitely stepping out of my comfort zone.
So first, I just want to ask, you are a father of two, and recently you are an empty nester. You and your wife, the kids have moved out. So what do you do to keep busy? I know you still work in IT, and like, how has that changed your life a little bit?
Well, I guess it was a gradual transition, really. When the kids they went to college, and they developed their own life, right? And
Right.
they had boyfriend, girlfriends, stuff like that, activities. So it wasn't like an abrupt change of life, but it was gradual, but it really sort of hit home when my son finally went away. He got stationed in New Brunswick for his job, and then suddenly it's like, okay, now we're
Right. It's not like he's coming home on the weekends.
exactly. My daughter's a bit more closer. She's like within an hour we can see her, right?
Okay.
So that's nice to still have that.
Okay. So it's just for reference, you live in the Ottawa area, and your son obviously moved to a different province, so it's just, flight away,
Yeah.
And your daughter an hour away, whereabouts?
She's in Gatineau.
Oh, she's in Gatineau. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Not
yeah,
too far.
not too far. So I know you're investing in real estate now. Tell me a little bit how that started. Did it start after the kids left, or did you start, throughout your career, a little bit by a little bit? Tell me a little bit how that went, your real estate investing journey a little bit.
Yeah. I guess we started, it was 2010, so the kids were fairly young.
Okay.
I'm an IT consultant, so I had a corporation, I had a little bit of money in there, and family loved to do camping, right? So we were always, tenting it, and then we upgraded to like a pop-up trailer,
Okay.
and then we had a tag-along trailer, stuff like that. So we're always doing this stuff, and then I don't know who came up with the idea, but decided, what about a cottage, and had a little bit of money in the corporation, had enough to buy a little cottage,
Okay.
and the deal was that we needed to rent this thing out, so
Okay.
to pay for itself, and that worked out very well. So was able to rent that during the summer months, the high season, and essentially that would pay the mortgage for the rest of the year. So
Wow.
that's very nice. My wife wasn't the keenest on that because she's a teacher.
Okay.
And
Yes.
those are the months she has off,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But we got the full year-round use of it as well.
So you rented it for the summer, and then you got to use it on the
Yeah.
other months.
Yeah, we didn't rent it during the winter.
Okay.
Too many things that go wrong.
And how far is it from you?
It's only an hour, within an hour drive.
And how did you guys manage that in terms of property management?
Self-managed, so
Self-managed.
yeah. So we had like 4-hour windows to go down, clean it up, get it ready for the next guest. We rented for a week at a time, minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit of a chore, but it was our first first go at it. And we only recently, in the last few years, we purchased it personally for ourselves and moved it out of the corporation. We own it personally. And now we get full use of it.
Okay.
So that was our first go at it. Getting into real estate more actively was probably around 2018, 2019.
Okay.
Joined a real estate investment group, and using equity from our house, we purchased some other properties, like student rentals, stuff like that. We did a rent to own as well. So we dabbled, we got a bit more experience with that and different investment strategies.
Okay. So to paint a picture, you're an IT consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife is a teacher.
Yeah.
You guys purchased a cottage at first through your corporation. So the corporation, was it because you were working as an IT consultant for yourself?
Yeah, essentially a subcontracting.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm just trying to make a point that this is not something that like you won the lottery, or this is not something that, so like a large sum of money was gifted to you. You and your wife and your family, you just decided that, okay, we're just gonna, I guess one thing led to another. First a cottage, and then you were able to rent it out. And that's actually very impressive, renting it out for one summer, so one season, and being able to use it for the rest of the season, the 3 seasons, without having a mortgage. So anybody that's thinking cottage, I know things have changed since COVID and whatnot, but there are ways to have your full-on mortgage paid for and still being able to enjoy the house, let's say something like a cottage. And you said you decided to invest in also student rentals, and you did that through taking equity out of your house. How did you learn that you could do that?
Well, before we joined this investment group, that we were just focusing on paying down the mortgage and trying to get mortgage free as fast as possible, and we're almost there.
Right.
But then you learn you got a lot of money just tied up in this house that you're living in, and there's potential to do these other investments that'll sort of carry themselves and stuff like that. So yeah, it was through this investment group that we learned these strategies. So yeah, that sort of opened my eyes anyways to
What you could do.
the possibilities of real estate.
So sometimes I feel like people, it's not that they don't have the money, it's just a mindset or how to use what they already have, how to leverage, whether it's, their house, an asset that they have, or other people's money somehow. And that's all through education, right? You joined this real estate group and that opened your eyes to different possibilities.
Yeah.
And that led to, if you don't mind me asking, like how many properties did you buy with the equity that you were able to pull out from your house?
Well, we bought a condo in Kitchener-Waterloo. We also did a joint venture with a couple in Southern Ontario. They were the working partners. We were financial. So that was pretty much immediate that we did those two. And then a couple years later, I managed to organize a rent-to-own with a couple. And that was a very actually rewarding experience, that investment.
So you purchased it, and then you had a contract that they would purchase it at a later time at a higher price.
That's right.
Assumingly. Okay. That's awesome. And all through getting into this real estate investing group, learning different strategies, and actually executing, because that's another thing. A lot of people, they'll join an investing group or whatever group that they're joining, but they'll just sit on the knowledge, right? And it is true that everything has a risk to it, but there's also a risk of not doing it. Like imagine you take out this equity and you're able to buy 3 more properties, or you keep paying down your house, like you said, a lot of money tied up. So perhaps you're a little bit more tight in money, but now that you purchase more properties, you have more equity and you can, if you want, eventually sell them, and that would actually put, cash in your pocket, which is kind of cool. And were your kids ever involved in the property management, like helping you clean the cottage? And did they kind of, know what was going on when you were buying the condo and doing this joint venture? Like, were they old enough to be aware of what was going on?
Well, we did get them involved in the turnover of the cottage briefly, as long as we could. It was cheap labor. But I don't think they really understood the investment of it, really. Later on.
How old were they, if I'm asking?
So that's like talking 12 years old.
Okay.
But they saw the advantage of owning it because they loved being there, right?
Right.
Later on, I tried to talk as much about what we were doing and why we're doing it. And I think that instilled a desire to sort of invest in real estate.
Okay. And while you were, buying these properties and the cottage, did you encounter any obstacles? Or tell me about, like, maybe the biggest 2 that you were like, oh, this is a little bit of a headache.
Well, right off the bat, the condo we purchased in Southern Ontario, that was like a no-brainer. This was like a package deal offered to us through this group. It had everything. It was going to be cash flowing day one. Property management was already set up. The financing was just so easy to do.
Okay.
It was a no-brainer, right? And that was 2019.
Right. Yes.
And we all know what happened in 2020,
yes,
right?
we do.
So built into this was a guaranteed rental. So if anything happened, or if for some reason it was vacant, my rent was still getting, I'm still getting the rent and obviously paying off the mortgage. That was great, but that eventually ran out. So it was like a year that, okay, now I'm going to start to carry this for a while.
Right.
So it's unexpected because, all the foreign students were, going home and they're just...
More vacancies.
And online courses, there's no need for these.
Right.
So something like that was just like a no-brainer, but out of the blue, something happens that you just didn't expect. And so, so we just have a contingency. You got to expect that you're not always going to get that rent. So make sure you have it. So that was one.
I just want to add something to that. So a lot of times when people start in real estate investing, for some reason, all of a sudden they quit their jobs, right? They're like, oh, I'm cash flowing. And sometimes it's a good amount. Maybe you're not necessarily covering your entire paycheck or making your entire paycheck yet, but you see the possibilities and you see that, okay, maybe if I quit my job, I will be able to put more time into real estate investing and be able to purchase more and then eventually, cover my actual income. And then something like this happens, right? Where you're not able to get the rent and your cash flow is gone. And I think it is wise to keep your job. I'm talking from a person who quit their job, not necessarily for real estate investing. So it was a little bit of a different situation. Yeah. However, along the way, you do see people kind of getting stuck because now they can no longer qualify for a mortgage or something happens and there's a huge expenditure, a furnace, a roof leak, whatever it may be, and they're not able to pay for it, and the little bit of cash flow that they're getting, let's say at best $1,000 a month, right? And we all know $1,000 a month on, it's very hard to get on a single family home or even a duplex, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, no longer you don't have that cash flow, you don't have that income, but also you have to put money into it. So at any point, were you thinking that you wanted to quit your job and you didn't, or was it just not part of the plan?
No, every day I want to quit my job, but no, it never crossed my mind that I should do that. It's I wasn't going to burn the boats, right?
Right.
It facilitates your investing. Like you said, qualifying for mortgages. It's hard to do that if you just, it's bad enough as a consultant. I was paying myself dividends and just not having a T4.
Right.
It made it harder. But yeah, it was never an option to quit the job.
Very wise, very smart. I'm just gonna fast forward to maybe 2026. So let's say that 2024, when I met you, and through a group where we invest in more land development deals.
Yeah.
So what led you to take that route? So you started off cottage, then buy and hold, rent to own, and then land development at some point. Why did you go to land development?
Well, it's kind of like a natural progression to go from the smaller investments, single families, to like 3-4plex to more doors. Makes more sense because you got more rents covering your costs, and losing one rent is not as impactful. So I wanted to get into multifamily, so I went that route, looking for deals. I looked actually in Sudbury, which was a great market because it had everything. It had all the schools and hospitals and stuff like that. And then it seemed like everybody was looking in Sudbury for some reason. It's crazy. So nothing ever worked out there. I did have some almost deals.
Okay.
But I think I was too overly cautious or just nervous to actually bite the bullet on something like that. But I knew that was the way to go. And so I just kept learning more, better underwriting skills. I took more courses for underwriting. So then I said, well, I'm now looking at Ottawa, and things are even worse. Like the numbers just are so hard to make work. Mm-hmm. So I decided, okay, well, if I can't find one, why not build one?
That's the harder route.
That's like going to be the next step, anyways, right?
Right.
But so I decided to invest a bit more in education, and I found someone I knew, who was very respected in that field in land development. So I approached her, and that led me to another investment group, which you know well.
Yes.
And I found that this was a different level of education that seemed more like previously. It was more, here's the information, go nuts. Or this one was more hands-on, like more one-on-one type of education, and getting real-world examples of all of the deals, learning real underwriting. So built my confidence up, and so it was like a 1-year course essentially, And right after my 1 year, I found a deal.
Okay.
It made sense, and I put it on a contract.
So what did you buy? Did you buy raw land or did you buy a house to develop later?
I bought a house, so it's a single family house, very small, on a decent sized lot. So it had a lot of potential.
What's decent size?
It's about 110 by 120.
Okay.
But it's not in Ottawa itself. It's outside of Ottawa in a secondary market. Yeah. So in doing that, I find that the regulations and the bureaucracy is a little easier to deal with than Ottawa. So
I actually thought you were going to say the opposite. It's more difficult. Although Ottawa is hard enough, so I don't know why. I wouldn't think there's any place that's more difficult to deal with than Ottawa. And Ottawa is just really expensive too, right? And actually, just today I saw you post that your zoning amendment was approved. Yeah. So for people who don't know, the zoning amendment basically means that it's a single family home. So when it was built, it was probably zoned. It was probably the use of that land and probably neighboring lands were for single family homes, maybe a duplex. What did it change into? What's now the allowed usage of that land?
Well, when I purchased it, the zoning actually allowed for the density I wanted.
Okay.
So it's a single family home. I couldn't even tear it down and build another single family home because that's not allowed. They wanted density there.
I see.
But the catch is they wanted a commercial component to this project, and unfortunately, the planners I was working with didn't catch or read the zoning differently. So I was working on the concept that, okay, they allow townhomes. That's what I want to do, but they also say they allow commercial. But if you read it correctly, I guess, as the city says, they want them both together. You can't just put towns, you need a commercial component to it.
Right.
Or you can do multifamily. So I did waste a lot of time just going back and forth. This is my concept for townhomes. Yeah. And then at the very end, it's like, okay, but where's the commercial component? It's like,
so you had to go back to the drawing board?
It was either that, add a commercial component to all this, and then risk not being able to rent these commercial. I'm a little leery about commercial space, and they're a little harder to rent, stuff like that. So there's an option to just get a minor variance and change the zoning that way. There was going to be probably a lot of pushback by committee for committee of adjustments. The biggest part was the parking component as well. I needed to reduce the parking. So really it came down to actually changing the zoning bylaw itself and actually the official plan. If you do that in Ottawa, that's a huge thing. 100%. That's very big. Whereas in Rockland, where this project is, it's whatever. It's almost as involved as a minor variance. So
wow.
So luckily, that was fairly straightforward to finally get that going. So that was only a few more months to get that all packaged up.
In total, from the time you purchased it to now, how long have you spent on, I guess, getting these permits or getting the zoning and all of that?
Well, I've been at it for 2 years.
Okay.
And
what did you expect? How long did you expect it to take originally?
Oh, I thought within 6 months I'll be building something.
Yes. So
training.
Currently, is the house rented?
I'm Airbnb-ing it.
Okay.
Because I didn't want a long-term renter in there.
Yes, that's very wise because you never know if they want to leave at the time you want them to leave.
Yeah.
But I just want to highlight the importance of being able to have someone rent out the house, carry this project, because let's say you would have thought, okay, I'm gonna buy something that isn't rentable or that you didn't want to rent at all. And you're thinking 6 months of carrying costs, at the worst, maybe 9 months, for example. But now you're 2 years into it, so that changes your numbers a lot, right? And depending on the type of project you have, especially on smaller projects, your margins are a lot smaller, right? So that could right away kind of like kill your margins and maybe make you not want to do the project along the way, right?
Yeah.
Along the way, aside from the time limit or the time that it took, more than double the time, what challenges have you encountered throughout getting, the zoning amendments or, the permits?
It just seems like it's just been dragging on. Just the time it takes to get responses from the city, even even your planners getting responses from them. Just everything seems to take much longer than you think. Like you send an email, you would think, well, within a day you get a response. It's at least a week before you get a response for an email, on anything you do. So it just drags, and you do have to keep poking people. I hate getting on the phone, calling, asking again for this and that, but yeah, it's something you have to do.
Yeah, and I've had similar experiences, and unfortunately, the person who calls the most or pokes the bear the most gets the fastest response, and it's at this point, time is money, right? So as much as I see a little bit of similarities in your personality than mine, I don't like to bother people. I kind of just want to, let them take their time, but at some point, you kind of have to become a different type of person, or at least, for that moment, in order to get your project moving, because it is about creating wealth, right? And at the end of the day, if the time that it takes is killing your profit, then it defeats the purpose.
Right.
At any point, did you want to give up and just sell it and say, you know what, this is not for me?
No, I don't think so. I think you also get to a certain point where it's like, am I going to recoup everything that I just put into this by selling? And it starts to get iffy. So it's like, that's sort of like burning your boats right there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to go back and take a loss. I'm going to keep going. It's still it's still a really good project. The numbers look great. So.
Do you feel like your risk tolerance as you progress in your journey in real estate has increased, or as I just know for myself, as I'm getting older and my kids are still very young, but your kids are, in college right now, do you feel like you have less of a risk tolerance because you want to make sure that you don't lose a certain amount of money? Like which one do you think?
No, I think my risk tolerance has grown. Yeah. Yeah, we are empty nesters now, so it's really just us that we're looking after. Both my children are established and doing well, which is very comforting, and so the bank of dad is shut down.
I'm sure you can open up. Parents are always there.
No.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you do get a thicker skin for these type of things, and seeing interest rates rise, yes, we'll deal with it.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
I see. And one thing that we did mention about you is that you're really into fitness. How often do you work out?
Every morning.
Every morning.
5 a.m. kind of guy. So.
Okay. At home, or do you go to the gym?
At home.
At home. Okay. And in these times, I just know that for me, in these times of frustration, if I don't go for a walk, if I don't get a workout, it just bottles up a little bit. Do you find that you find a little bit of release through fitness during these times of frustration or anything in life in general?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Like it is usually the first thing I do in the morning before I get into the stress of the day.
Yes.
But I do feel that it helps in managing things, and yeah, I've been working from home, so at the end of the day, if I want to get a second workout in, like to really reduce the frustrations of the day, I can do that. And so, yeah, it definitely does help in that respect.
Okay. A few more questions that I want to ask you. So about your kids. Now, ever since they were maybe 12 years old, they saw you buy the cottage. And yes, they were young, but they were involved in a, turnover. And I'm sure they know that, you bought a condo eventually and, all the properties along the way. And I'm sure they also know that you are developing this. How many townhouses?
6 times.
6 townhouses. So has that piqued their interest in real estate investing or just investing at all?
I'm not sure the development has, but definitely they both have used their first time home buyer and purchased their first house, which was a duplex.
Nice.
So they each have a duplex. So right there, they see the benefit of the rental income helping them pay off the mortgage. So that was hopefully an eye-opener, and hopefully not the end of their journey for real estate.
Right. And do you think that if you had told them about investing versus doing it yourself and them just watching you do it, do you think that would have impacted them differently in how they invest themselves?
I think, just being told something is different than actually witnessing it, right? Mm-hmm. So, like I've given them each books to read on investing and stuff. I don't know if they cracked the cover.
Right.
I don't blame them because it's something you have to be interested in. But to actually see someone going through something and the ups and downs of it, hopefully more ups, I think that really is more of a influence. And,
yeah.
And my daughter actually she's sitting on a nice potential project, and she knows that her and her significant other are sort of thinking development as well for that.
Wow.
Which is nice.
Do they come to you for advice?
Yeah, occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's nice. It's rewarding. I think the biggest hurdle right now for them though is the taking the initiative and getting over maybe a little bit of doubt of if they can do it or not.
Right.
But it'll come.
Have they themselves invested in any courses about real estate investing, or is it mostly through watching you and maybe, I don't know, the first couple of pages of those books that you give them?
Not that I know of for that. Yeah, so it's more, I guess, witnessing what we've been going through. So.
Okay. Well, I think as a parent, one of the most rewarding things is to see our kids watch what we do, like the good examples, because obviously, we're not perfect human beings, and follow a path that we feel would benefit them in the future. So kudos to you and your wife for getting into real estate investing and just basically leading by example, right? I don't think there's a better way of teaching children. Children will do as they see rather than do as they say. And I also see it in my kids, you know, when you're like, okay, well, don't eat this, and then you eat a bag of chips, and they're like, wait a minute, something doesn't add up, right? So it's definitely important to, lead by example, and you guys are doing an amazing job at it. And I do want to congratulate you for getting the zoning amendment for your project.
Thank you.
Because it's not a small feat. It's definitely, we've gone through zoning amendments in Ottawa, and ours did take 2 years, but we did it expected to take 2 years or maybe 2.5. However, the ups and downs and the city and the neighbors and all of that, you definitely have to have the gut to, how do you say it, to digest all this information and just kind of handle that on a daily basis. So congrats to you.
Thanks.
What's the next step for that project?
Next step is building permit, essentially. So getting estimates for all the plans and stuff that need to be done. So get an architect lined up.
And moving forward.
Moving forward.
I meant to ask the planner that sort of missed the, I guess the discrepancy, however you want to call it, the commercial versus residential. Did you keep going with him, or did you change planners? What happened with that situation?
Yeah, I think I was too far invested with them to replace them. Actually, they were my second planner on this project.
Wow.
I already replaced
the first one, yes.
But no, I had the confidence that they could get it done, but whatever needed to be done. So,
how hard is a decision like that to make when you have to let go of, a consultant and find another one?
Yeah, it's a tough phone call, but it's business, and actually they understand. You give justifiable reasons, and they're professional. So it's
it may not be the first anyway. So
exactly.
Yeah, they know how to handle it. Awesome. I just want to end by asking you if anybody wants to reach out to you, they're listening to this conversation, they want to know more about your project, more about your journey, more about you in general, how can they reach you?
I'm not huge on social media, but I am there.
You can give a phone number if you prefer.
I have let me just email dennis@jadeford.ca. Or on Facebook, pretty recognizable.
Just your full name and that's it.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming again in the snowstorm. It seems like every time you drive here a second time, it's been snowing. So I appreciate you coming, and you came right on time. My son was watching the time, so he was definitely waiting for that 6 o'clock. I really appreciate your time. I don't take that lightly when somebody says yes. Thank you for sharing the journey. And for listeners, if you want to reach out to Dennis, we'll put his email in the caption, on screen, and also in the YouTube caption. Feel free to reach out to him, but not too much because he's a busy guy, working out and working as an IT consultant and managing his land development deal. And thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment if you enjoyed this episode, and let us know what else you want us to talk about in future episodes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.